The yard was empty. I told myself it was the wind, the fog, the trees. But then, the sound returned. Not just the porch, footsteps on the roof. Heavy, measured, going back and forth. David got up, flashlight in hand, and circled the house. Nothing. No footprints, no sign of anyone. Welcome to undeniable fear, where the unexplained comes to life. Tonight's story is not for the faint-hearted. If you're alone, you might want to keep the lights on, and perhaps hold your rosary tight. This is the story of Claire and David, a family whose lives were forever changed by a house they thought would be their dream home. It all began 5 years ago, when my husband David, our 2 children, and I moved into an old government-owned house on the outskirts of rural Pennsylvania. The house had been built in the 1930s and had stood mostly vacant for decades. The structure itself was beautiful in a forgotten, antique way. High ceilings, wide wooden windows, and oak floors that groaned with each step, but its age brought a feeling that you could almost touch, a sense of lingering memories, whispers of lives long gone. We were thrilled. Finally, a place to call our own. But it wasn't just excitement that greeted us. It was the silence. Thick, oppressive silence that blanketed the woods surrounding our home. Fog often rolled through the trees at night, and the branches scraped against the windows like fingernails. The road was miles away, and the neighbors, when you could see their lights, seemed like shadows themselves. At night, it felt as though we were the only family left in the world. From the first night, I noticed something strange. I brushed it off at first. The creaking of old wood, the draft through cracks, but there was a heaviness in the air, a weight that pressed against my chest, as though the house itself was aware of us. My husband was practical, a man of reason. He smiled, reassured me, and said, "Old houses make noises. Don't let it get to you." But I knew this wasn't ordinary. The first week passed without incident, apart from minor oddities. Doors that had been shut would be slightly ajar, and the wind seemed to blow cold drafts straight into the corners of the rooms. The children, ages 6 and 4, slept peacefully, unaware. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something or someone was watching us. Then, one night, it began. I woke to footsteps on the front porch, slow, deliberate, like someone was pacing. I grabbed the rosary on my nightstand and whispered the Hail Mary, peeking through the curtains. The yard was empty. I told myself it was the wind, the fog, the trees, but then the sound returned. Not just the porch, footsteps on the roof, heavy, measured, going back and forth. David got up, flashlight in hand, and circled the house. Nothing. No footprints, no sign of anyone. And yet, the sounds continued. The first clear apparition came a few nights later. Around 1 in the morning, I woke to the sound of soft movement in our bedroom. Our children were asleep down the hall. Across from our bed was a tall, antique dresser with a large mirror, and in that mirror, I saw her. A woman, impossibly beautiful, standing next to David's sleeping form. Long, dark hair, pale skin, and eyes that seemed to burn, not with fire, but with an intensity that made my chest tighten. She looked at him with a gaze so focused, it felt personal, predatory even. But when I turned to look directly at him, he slept peacefully. No one was there. I clutched the rosary tightly, whispered the Our Father, and watched the reflection. The woman remained for a moment longer, then slowly faded from the mirror. My body trembled, my heart raced. I knew, deep down, that this was no trick of the mind. That night, and many nights after, she appeared again and again, in mirrors, in reflections of windows, in glimpses across the hall. Always the same, beautiful, young, watching David, ignoring me entirely. Objects began to move. A cup left on the counter would end up on the floor. The old wooden cross above our bed tilted as if nudged by invisible hands. The doorbell rang at impossible hours. Each time when we checked, the porch was empty. Sometimes I heard whispers, a soft, lilting voice, singing, humming, murmuring words I couldn't understand. The children began waking with nightmares, describing a lady with fire eyes who tried to talk to them. One night, David was late picking up groceries. I was alone with the kids. They had gone to the neighbor's yard, and the house was deathly quiet. The doorbell rang. I froze. It rang again. My voice shook as I called, "Who's there?" No answer. When it rang a third time, I flung the door open. At the far end of the driveway, near the woods, a woman darted behind a corner fence. The distance between her and the door was too far to cover so quickly. David came home shortly after. I told him everything. He tried to reassure me, but I could see fear in his eyes. The vent in our bedroom became another focal point. An old open vent hole, large enough for a child to crawl through, had been stuffed with paper. One night, I woke to see the paper gone, and through the vent, a single eye glowed red, watching me. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. It blinked once, then vanished. We patched it with cement the next day, but the hauntings did not cease. Another night, I woke to movement under our bed, breathing, raspy, slow, unnatural. I leaned over, my rosary clutched in my hand. She was there, lying under our bed facing away from me. When she rose, she passed directly in front of the mirror. In the reflection, her beauty twisted into something grotesque, face aflame, eyes blazing. David and I screamed. We grabbed the children and ran outside, standing in the cold night air for over an hour before returning. Even with candles, holy water, and prayers, the presence persisted. She would manipulate objects, make noises in the kitchen, and occasionally appear in mirrors, watching David with an unnerving affection. On the final night, she appeared while we slept. The children were in their beds, David and I on ours. I awoke to see her crouching in the corner, eating from the stew we had left for the morning. She looked at David with soft, loving eyes, but her pupils glowed red. I shook my husband awake, and together we fled the house. The next day, David's office arranged a different residence for us. That night, we didn't sleep at all. We prayed, read from the Bible, and tried to comprehend what had happened. Even after leaving, we weren't free. Nightmares continued. Objects moved on their own. Mirrors reflected her for fleeting seconds. Our youngest daughter would point at corners of rooms, whispering, "The fire lady found us again." Whatever she was, a demon, a spirit, or something worse, she had attached herself to our home and, in some way, to our lives. I tell this story as a warning. Appearances can be deceiving. Old houses may carry more than dust and memories. Keep your faith close. Keep your family closer. And when you feel watched, believe it. Thank you for watching Undeniable Fear. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story. If you've had your own real horror experience, share it with us. It might be featured in an upcoming episode. Signing off for now. Take care of yourself and those around you. And remember, fear is undeniable.